As someone who regularly hears confessions, I can tell you that most sins fall into three major categories. Sins against God. I missed Mass on Sunday, failed to pray. Sins of the flesh. I overate, I overdrank, I gave into lust. And sins against family. I was impatient with my spouse, I yelled at my kids, I didn't listen to my parents. So I think the church is very wise to give us a feast of the Holy Family right after a major family holiday. Just as a little reminder. Families are schools of love. They're schools of love. And that school of love will happen in one of two ways. The first way is in functional families. Families who are able, to the best of their ability, to be loving, functional families. Families where it's clear that mom and dad love each other, and where it's clear that mom and dad love the kids and do their best for the kids. In those families, they're schools of love because the mother and the father instruct everybody in the home in unconditional love. The love that comes from the marriage bond is that kind of love. For better or for worse, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That kind of love that does not depend on it always being the best or it always being the best times is unconditional, and it matches the love of God. Or at least it tries to imitate the love of God, even if imperfectly. Because even in our hard times, we need somebody that we can go to who will accept us and will walk with us and will love us through that hard time. Ideally, that's what a family is. It's the people that we can go to in the difficult times. And even if they're not perfect, even if they struggle to accept and love in those difficult times, they're tangibly showing us, even if imperfectly, the intangible love of God. They're showing us what the love of God begins to look like. And in a functional family, we can say, okay, the way in which my mother or the way in which my father loved me is a sign of the way in which God loves me. We might think, for example, of a time where our father really loved us or helped us or guided us. And we might say, okay, well, the love of God is like that, but perfect. The love of God is like that, but without flaw. Similarly with our mother, ways in which our mothers cared for us or held us or loved us. The love of God is like that, but perfect. The other way in which a family is a school of love happens on the other end of the spectrum. Families that are dysfunctional, families that struggle, families full of people who really don't love each other very well. The reason that's a school of love is the same reason that the functional family is a school of love, which is there's still a form of love in that family that is unconditional. But in that case, it's more obvious how difficult love becomes when we try to make it unconditional. If somebody is easy to love, somebody loves us back, it's generally easy to love them. But when we talk about love in a Christian context, the highest image of love that we have is the image of the cross, which tells us that love is not easy. And the deepest love is the hardest, most sacrificial love. So when somebody is difficult to love, when we really struggle with them, when we don't know how to love them, but we try anyway, that level of sacrifice, that level of attempt to love even the unlovable, brings us deeply into the experience of Jesus, who came to this earth to love sinners, to love us who did not merit his love or his sacrifice. We did nothing to earn the attention or love of God, but he came and he loved us anyway. A dysfunctional family or a difficult family is also a school of love because it forces us to try to love those who are unlovable. 2 more notes on that. First, family is part of the plan of God. God intentionally gave us families, and He wants all of us to be a member of a family. And we know that because Jesus Himself was a member of a family. Jesus didn't just come out of the desert from nowhere. He was born into and was raised by a family. God intends family so deeply, He loves family so deeply, that He made sure His Son was a member of a human family. The reason family is part of the plan of God is because we need people in our lives who we do not choose that we have to love. If we only loved our friends, friends are a voluntary association, then our love doesn't take a lot of effort. Yeah, I love hanging out with these people, and therefore I love them. But your mom is your mom, and your dad is your dad, and your siblings are your siblings, and your kids are your kids. You didn't choose them. You sort of rolled the dice, and there they were. And you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. And that's good for you. Whether it's a functional or dysfunctional family, it's good for you. Because you have people that you have to love that you didn't choose. Again, with that love of Jesus, where He loves those, even if they don't deserve it, because that is who He is. Second note. When I say love over and over and over again in reference to a family, it is really helpful if we remember that in Christianity, love is a choice, not a feeling. I am not saying that you have to feel good about everybody in your family. And again, 4 or 5 days after Christmas, you might not feel good about everybody in your family. But that's not love. Love is choosing what is best for the other person. So if we talk about a dysfunctional family situation, and the one I have to deal with most in my pastoral counseling is somebody who has an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction, what does it look like to love that person? It might not look like feeling good, and it certainly doesn't look like affirming everything that they do. Love is choosing what is best for the other person. And certainly in situations of substance abuse, what is best for that person is to get help. And sometimes to have that person get help requires laying out consequences and making difficult choices and enforcing those consequences, even if it breaks your heart, because it is ultimately for their good. And that's true for every member of our family, no matter what they're struggling with. Love means, can I pray about what is best for that person, and can I do it? Can I carry it out? What is best for my kids? What is best for my parents? I know my mother right now is dealing with her mother-in-law. They just had to move her into an assisted living facility because dignity of life was going to be very poor. And my mother-in-law didn't accept it very well, but it was a loving thing to do to make sure she lived the best possible life in her later years. It's a loving but very difficult choice. Love is choosing what is best for the other person. And families, more than anything else, they teach us to love. Families are schools of love. Can you pray about all of the members of your family? Can you ask God what is best for each member of your family? And then can you ask God to give you the grace, through the example of the Holy Family, to do what is best and most loving for each member of your family?